This little moment was so wholesome and adorable, just made me laugh out loud. Thorfinn yelling, "Pregnant lady, what are you doing?" as Gudrid is trying to chase all of the rats out of her house. Exactly probably what my reaction would be if I had a pregnant woman at home and she was like running around chasing rats. I'd be like, "Pregnant lady, stop." Like, what are you doing? Anyways, this was delightful, but also kind of might be a precursor to something. I don't know. My brain's a little bit scattered right now because we have just had it's such an incredible week for manga. I was not expecting any of these. Well, I was kind of expecting the One Punch Man chapter, but I wasn't expecting the Berserk chapters to drop the same day. I wasn't expecting Vinland Saga to drop today. So just my brain is like exploding with all these new manga chapters. But going from those manga that I've already covered, their new chapters, and the intensity level that they are at, back to Vinland Saga, I had to take a little bit of a breather and put myself back into this village that Thorfinn is creating. And remember that peace and tranquility can be a good thing as well. So this chapter of Vinland Saga 194, I believe, is very simplistic, and even though it is very dialogue heavy, it reads very fast. I read this chapter actually pretty quickly, and it's basically leading up to an event that we're going to get into the next chapter with all of the characters sitting around at a thing. And they explain very early on in Vinland Saga that thing does not mean some weird alien creature that comes from space that, you know, attacks Kurt Russell. In this universe, in this time period anyways, Thing is a gathering event that all of the kind of the higher-ups in this establishment get to kind of discuss big things that are happening and that are going to happen within the community. There's another great line that's said in the very last page of this chapter, but I'm going to bring it up now, where I think the character's name is Ugye. I'm not really sure how to pronounce his name. He's the one that always wears the helmet constantly. He's Eviar's like right-hand man, like his buddy. He says to Thorfinn that an agreeable person does not make a great leader. Now, I am fully on board with Thorfinn all the way. He is my boy. I love this character. I love seeing all the development that he's gone through, but that specific quote actually has a lot of meaning behind it. When thinking about needing to make the hard decisions, when thinking about needing to even make a decision, to not just dwell over all of the possibilities constantly to the point where you never actually decide something, a leader needs to be somebody that is able to make decisions and also able to make decisions that might not necessarily benefit everybody, but benefits the majority of people, with other people's best interests in mind, is the way that they should be making their decisions moving forward. And I think Thorfinn has definitely proven himself to be that. He is trying to make decisions based on what will be best, but not just for his own group, but for everybody living in the area, including the Lunu, or, sorry, I'm not sure how to pronounce the tribe name still. I'm really bad with pronunciations. I apologize for that. But the native tribes that are there. Thorfinn is making decisions based upon what is best to benefit both, because he does not want to cause any conflict. He doesn't want to cause any war. He wants peace between these two people. But what does benefit both evenly does not necessarily benefit one group if you were to sway it over more. You could have 50-50, or you could have 70-30, or you could have 90-10. These are the ways that you can make the decisions. Now, in this chapter, Eviar and his name, Ugye, I don't know how to pronounce his goddamn name, but they are starting to erect this fort that will go around where the ships are to protect the ships, and where you could possibly build an armament and all that. And Hild is the one that notices this. First of all, I love to see Hild, now that she's sort of gone through her whole development and sort of forgiven Thorfinn for everything, symbolically let her hair down, sort of become a new person, been kind of reawakened into her true self, being able to use her ingenuity and technology abilities to create things, you know, going back to a little bit of who she used to be before her father was taken away from her, but also adding in all the elements of her cunning and her foresight and all of the training that she learned, you know, living in the mountaintops as well. So she sees this going up, contacts Thorfinn immediately. They go over there, power duo, and you know, Eviar basically says, like, this is what it's going to be. Like, we're just going to create this little enclosement around the ships, be a little bit of a fort, a little bit of a deterrent in case anything goes bad. And the idea here is that by erecting this, by putting up this fort to begin with, you are already putting the idea out there that there could be conflict. This shows mistrust with the natives. When the natives see this, they will see that we don't trust them as much as they trust us. By seeing that, they are going to distrust us more because they see our distrust. You see how it's a ripple effect that continues to go. And this has been the conflict ever since. Now, I do think that this conversation here, though it does seem like something that we've seen before in the most recent chapters with the group sort of arguing about the best way to go about it, I think it directly mirrors the conversation in the previous chapter with the natives, and how the elder is basically saying, we need to get these people out of here, that we shouldn't trust them. There's this little bit of distrust within that group, and it's showing the parallel over here. So we might even get into a situation where both groups begin fighting amongst themselves while fighting each other. So this could go completely into chaos, completely because of people's suspicion and distrust and paranoia. But they're not all wrong, and that's what I love about it. And that's the thing I love about Vinland Saga, is that there are nuanced ways to look at this, because I don't know what the right answer is. I like the way that Thorfinn is going about it, but I do have to agree with particular points that are brought up from time to time with ideas that go against it, and I think it's a good conversation to have. Now, with the character wearing the helmet saying that, a leader can't be agreeable like this, there is some power to that, right? There is, because if you just comply and agree and go along with everything that everyone wants you to do, it can at some point show weakness on your end. I don't think that that's Thorfinn, but I think the idea behind the sentiment is there. Now, if they do have this thing that they're going to go to and discuss the idea of putting up this fort, it might depend on what the majority of people want, because going back to that quote, I don't know if Thorfinn will make that decision based upon what might seem good for the group. He might completely go against it. And so then we might have a situation where, what do you do if he is the leader of the group? He is the one ultimately supposed to be, making these decisions at the end of the day. But if you have, 80% of the people want one thing and Thorfinn wants the other thing, he's gone through hell and high water to try to convince people to get to this point that they're at now. How much more of it can he take mentally? I don't think he's going to cave, but it'll be a really interesting development if we see a chapter where basically everybody kind of goes against what Thorfinn is thinking, and Thorfinn just has himself and Hild and Einar on his side, and they have more reason and credibility to use against him. They have that entire group of people that mysteriously disappeared when they saw the arrows everywhere. What happened to them? Was it the natives? What happened? I don't know where they went. And we also have, the old wise man of the natives looking to do something against the Norsemen as well. So if they figure out that development, yeah, it's a slippery slope. I also wonder about the rats. I don't know if this is actually meant to be an intentional thing or just a way to start the chapter. And I also don't know anything about the history of what the story is trying to say, like the actual real life history of Thorfinn and, sailing over to the west and everything. I don't know if the rats are going to come into play, because what if they are spreading like disease of some sort, or people start getting sick? So what if the morale of the people starts to go down because they're all getting sick and things are happening there? There's disease that's spreading, along with the mistrust, along with the natives also having this mistrust against them. It's just a recipe for disaster. I don't know if the rats are actually going to mean anything. It could have just been a comedic moment for opening the chapter, but I gotta think that Yukimura doesn't just put these things in here like that, especially when it's something like that. It could have been anything, right? But the fact that I think we've seen the rats before, and now it shows them getting into the food, it's something, I feel like something is happening there. But anyways, guys, that was the gist of the chapter and the ideas that were being presented within it. It was a little bit jarring going from, like I said, those crazy other manga chapters to where they are there, going back to Vinland Saga, kind of get my mind into the right scenario once again. But now that we're here, we're here, and like tension is still building up. We might get to chapter 200, I believe, by the end of the year. And if you guys remember, chapter 100 was a huge deal. It was when Thorfinn finally made it back to his family. I'm wondering if, Yukimura is steadily building this up to when he hits chapter 200 to do something crazy with that. I don't know. But anyways, if you guys have had a chance to read this, it just came out translated. So if you can find it online, go ahead and check it out, read it, and then tell me what you think about it down below in the comments. What are your thoughts about what's going to happen at The Thing? What discussions are going to be had, and will Thorfinn be able to maintain his leadership role? Let me know all that down in the comments below. Be very curious to hear your thoughts. Tell me what you think about it. Also, please like this video, comment, and share it, because the Vinland Saga videos don't do as well. I don't think there's a ton of people, at least that search up on YouTube, looking for new Vinland Saga content, maybe the anime, but not so much the mangas. So the more that the video is liked and seen and commented on, the better it'll do in the algorithm, so it'll reach more Vinland Saga fans, and then we can build a bigger Vinland Saga fan base on this channel, which is something I definitely want to do. So other than that, guys, thanks for watching this. Do appreciate it, and I'll talk to you next time.